everyone, welcome. Today I have a 2000, I believe, Volvo S70 with the 2.4. That's the it's a 2000 S70. That's got the 2.4 5-cylinder turbo in there. I guess I'll run this and let you guys hear the sound. Let me go get the key. You hear that noise? The bearing is shot on the alternator. I'm going to shut this off. I don't want the engine getting hot. The alternator bearing is going on this. She took it to a garage. They put a power steering pump in and charged her dearly on that. I think they misdiagnosed the power steering pump as the culprit. She did have some steering line leakage, but I don't believe the pump was bad. The sad part is you got to pull the power steering pump out to replace the alternator. So they were halfway done with the job. But I got an alternator on eBay for under $80. I've spent money with these other companies paying more, and I've had the alternators go bad. I've ordered other eBay alternators and I've had good luck with them. Basically, they're all rebuilt crap anyway. So if I would have had access to the if it was a volta regulator issue, I would have just changed the regulator on it. You can get those a lot cheaper than buying a rebuilt alternator. One thing I had to do this car is I had to go buy one of those Serpentine Belt tools. It's got the crow's feet that you can connect to them in the socket. If you look in there, let me get a flashlight. If you look in there, there's like no room from that tensioner pulley to that frame, that body frame. I tried to get in there with my 3/8 ratchet and it wouldn't do it. I tried to get in there with a wrench and I couldn't do it. So I had to go buy that Serpentine tool. This is the only car I haven't been able to do with regular hand tools, but we're going to get started. That's a 14mm head on that tensioning pulley. Make a diagram of your belt configuration. If you're doing the alternator replacement, it's a good time to replace your serpentine belt. There goes my crank pulley, the tensioner, power steering pump, the AC, and I guess that's an idler pulley there. Yeah, that's an idler pulley. But that's the layout of the belt on the Volvo 2.4. All right, let me start going on this. I'll tell you the both sides as we go. All right, next thing I got to do now is pull this power steering pump out of the way. I saw a video on this. They were removing the fan. I don't think I have to do that. I think I'm going to have access with that power steering pump out of the way of getting this right out here, I hope. I'm figuring I can manipulate that with those power steering lines out of the way. I should be able to pull it out here. I don't think I'm going to have to walk it all the way over to this side of the engine. That's how I saw them doing in the video. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. Maybe that was just a different engine configuration, but we'll see, guys. Okay, let me get ready. It's a mess in here too. There's oil everywhere. I took it to a car wash and washed it down. I used a tire cleaner on it, but it wouldn't eat through all that heavy grease. I guess I should have hit it with oven cleaner, you know? But, all right. He's getting his belt off. I got that crow's foot set where it's straight up and down. Get on that tensioner pulley, try to be straight up. You got to pull it towards the front of the car. Then you should be able to walk it off of this. I think the power steering pump will come off of that pulley. You know what? Let me try this pulley that down here. Might be easier to get it off of this one. We'll do the power steering pump pulley. This looks like it's going to be fun getting this belt back on. Yeah, this is going to be a pain in the ass. Alright, I got it off the power steering pump pulley. And now I can't get the tool out. You can't see anything down here anyway. I'm going to work that belt out. I'm going to put the new one partially on, just so I have the routing fresh in my head. Okay, if you're getting an unusual engine noise and you're not sure where it's coming from, one of the tricks I use is you can take a long screwdriver and touch each accessory and listen to it and see if you hear the pulley noise or odd noise coming from there. Or you could buy a cheap set of mechanic stethoscope. It's like a doctor's stethoscope, but it's got a little steel rod on it, and you can touch different areas of the engine. Just be very careful you don't get caught in the belt or stick it inside the holes in the alternator. I did do that on this. I looked at this car before and I told her I thought the noise was coming from the alternator, but she had gone to a garage, and that's when the power steering thing happened. But I think that might have needed to be replaced anyway with all of this fluid around here. I believe that was power steering fluid leaking. Even though it doesn't look like there's a new line on here, there's not. They probably just tightened the hose clamp. But so that's how you can tell which accessory it's coming from. To be sure, if you can't identify the accessory and to be sure it is an accessory making noise, you can take the serpentine belt off. If the noise goes away, then it definitely is an accessory. So it's either going to be the idler, the tensioner, the power steering, the air conditioner, or the alternator. Okay? All right, one of the first things you're going to have to do here is disconnect your battery cable. Take your positive battery cable off. All right? That way you have no energy to the alternator and you're not going to have sparks flying around. All right, let me do that. I believe that's probably a 10 mil. Usually they are. Yep, 10 mil. Take that off, put it on the side so it's not going to get connected back on there. Make sure you tuck that away, all right? Now you're going to need to know your radio code when you put this back together. If you don't have the radio code, you can call the dealership with your VIN number. If it does have the original radio, they should be able to give you the radio code. Most of them aren't going to break your chops, especially with an older car like this, but I guess some have been known to make you come in and have to show proof of ownership of the vehicle, but I think most of you would have luck just calling. All right, I have to take this power steering pump off now. I believe these may be 12 millimeter, but don't hold me to that. They could be smaller. Gonna need the serpentine belt to get these out because you have to go through the holes in the pulley to get to these bolts. Yeah, these are probably 10s. I was going to try to get in there with a regular socket with a short extension, but that's too tight. Nope, they're not 10s, they're 11s. No, they're not. They're 12s. But they are 11s. I grabbed the 10 again. What the hell is wrong with me? Oh, my sockets are out of order. Who did that? Who did that? Yeah, it's a 12 mil. There should be 3 mounting bolts on there, and just rotate the pulley. I believe it's 2 towards the top and 1 towards the bottom. Down at, like, I would say 5 o'clock or so. All right? I'm going to work on getting those out. In here, I was able to get in there with a short wall socket and a little small stubby wobble extension, and I could just barely get in there. It is around 5 o'clock, that bottom bolt. It's more of an act of feeling for it than seeing in here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to remove this bracket first so I can get these hoses out of my way. They're being a nuisance for visibility and movement. Helps to have a little magnetic tray for your bolts. And now we can see a little better. Oh, it looks like there may be 4 bolts. It is. It's 4 bolts holding that power steering pump in there. I'm sorry, there's another one at like, no, that's 5 o'clock. The other one was at like 7. 4 bolts, excuse me. I thought it was 3. I can't even get my power ratchet in here. I'll be using that to speed this up, but that won't fit. Pay attention to see if all the bolts are the same size. If they're different, keep track of where they come out of. I'm pretty sure these are the same, but you never know. Taking your time makes things go faster. Go rushing through stuff and get stuff mixed up, you'll have headaches. I can't even get that out of there. There we go. Yeah, they are different sizes. Bottom one is longer. Well, the top one didn't even need to come out. That's just in the pump. The top one does not need to be removed. I'm going to put that top one back in there, that short one. I don't even know why the hell they have that there. Oh, that's just to hold that little bracket on. I'm sorry. That does have to come out because you got to get that bracket out of the way. Boy, they didn't make this a car friendly to work on, I'll tell you that. They don't give you much room at all in here. Alright, I'm not going to bore you to death with watching me remove bolts. We'll be back as I go. I'll get that power steering pump out. Power steering pump is out. I suggest you get one of yourselves, one of those little magnets, something to help get those bolts out of there. If you really wanted to clear room, you could take this upper radiator hose out of the way and then really get it out of your way, but I don't think I'm going to need to do that. We'll see. Now I'm going to figure out what size those alternator bolts are and start working on getting that out of there. Okay guys, this little alternator plug, you got to wiggle that out. Be careful. Take your time wiggling that out so you don't break that plug. Then you got to unscrew those connectors down there. I believe there's one. There might be 2. You can only see one of them from here. The alternator bolt, the main bolt going through, is a 13 mil. I'm thinking that connector may be a 10 or a 12 mil. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get to that. I'm going to have to get the alternator out first. I'm going to try to just loosen the alternator first and then see if I can get to that. Alright? Alright, now we're going to be working on getting the alternator bolts out. I believe there may be 4. What the hell did I just do with my flashlight? So hard for me to try to get film of you guys in here. Right down there, do you see that one bolt where I'm shining the light? That bolt right there, There's one there. I believe that's another one right there. Nope, that's not the alternator. That's not for the alternator. Maybe 3. And then those 2 down there. See those 2 in the front? They run down towards the air conditioner and compressor. I'm thinking that's the 3 bolts. If I find any other ones, I'll tell you about them. But that one's a 13. I don't think those other ones are 13s. They look like they may be 12s. Let me see. My dog decided to lay right where I got to stand. I put a mat down because my feet are killing me, my back injury. The dog decided it's the softest spot around, so to hell with me. All right, those other bolts are 12 millimeters. All right, so you're going to need a 13 for the long one going through, and then two 12s. All right, let me work on getting those out. Okay, guys, there's those 2 long bottom bolts that run through the air compressor and the alternator. You're not going to be able to remove those bolts. Just back them out. You don't have enough room to get them fully out of the area that they're through. You take the top bolt out, then you're going to have to just kind of wiggle that alternator up and walk it out and over. Then you can get to that 13 mil nut on the positive wire coming off. And again, I stress, be careful with that little plastic clip because of the change of temperature, the heat from the engine. Those things get real brittle and you don't want to break that, all right? So now I got to take that positive lead off, and I'm going to see how I can maneuver this out of here. All right, you can see where I have my power steering pump up and out of the way over the upper radiator hose. That should give you enough room. I'm hoping to get it out of here. Okay. Okay, I got that hot lead off. That was, I think I told you, was a 13 mil nut on there. If this is your first time working on a car, this is going to be a little tight for you, but you can do it if you take your time. I'm going to recommend some tools. See, one thing I got from Harbor Freight, which is very reasonably priced and it's pretty well built, it's got a lifetime warranty, is a set of these swivel head ratchets. These are really good for getting into tight spaces like this. I have them in all different sizes, and they have them with different various length handles. The long handles are good for helping you get a little more torque. Another thing I have that makes a job go much better, they're not cheap, but they're worth it, they pay for themselves, is the AC Delco. You can get whatever brand of Milwaukee's even better as far as size goes. It's a little smaller, but I picked this one up because it was built real heavy and easy access to replacement parts for it. The power ratchets, if you don't have air tools, these battery tools are great. I could hardly use that on here because it's so tight. Usually that makes a job go quicker for me, but I couldn't even get that in here today. I think I used it on 2 bolts, the ones down by the air conditioner, you know, compressor, but that was it. But when you're doing these jobs, take your time, don't lose tools and bolts, and you'll get done quicker going slow and steady. All right, now I'm going to try to manipulate this out of here. I'm going to try rotating it. See the way I'm coming out with that? Try getting it that way. It looks like it's going to come out that way. Okay, that's the way to get it out in that position. Turn your pulley up with your base aiming at like a 45, and then you'll get it out. You're going to have to go in the same way. This thing is covered with oil. Good thing this didn't go on fire. That shot. Yeah, you can hear that pulley shot on that. That was the culprit, so we're changing the right part. Now these are the bolts that you can't remove. These 2 that are going through, they also hold your air conditioner compressor in. What you're going to have to do is extend those out. Then you're going to have to work your alternator back up in here. It's going to be a tight squeeze, but just wiggle it up in there. Then get that lined in and try to start threading those bolts. Then you can get your top bolt in. Okay? Ooh, is that dye? No, that's the compressor. Boy, this is such a mess in here. I wish I had an engine gunk cleaner for this, you know? I should tell her to buy that and do this. Clean this up. I'm going to tell her to do that. Gunk the shit out of that. Alright, let's see if we can get this new one in here. I've already got that nut off for the positive terminal. Again, with a pulley at a 45. Came out, it's got to go in. Get that upper radiator hose out of the way. Oh, that just popped off. Great. Oh, we may as well remove that now. That upper radiator hose came off. Oh, great. That's cracked. That's fabulous. That's fabulous. Her radiator hose is cracked. I didn't just do that now either. That's been broken. No wonder she's been losing coolant. That's why her coolant light's on. I gotta tell her about that. I'm gonna try to glue that with this epoxy stuff I got, you know? I'm glad I was recording that. Yeah, because they'll know I didn't break that. That was already broken. I was wondering why her radiator light was on. I was concerned about that driving over. I know why it's on now.